Nature can be extremely cruel. When the 2011 Japan earthquake triggered a massive tsunami, people had mere minutes to flee their homes and try to stay alive. But hundreds of those who made it to evacuation sites were swept away anyway, as the waves overwhelmed them. As a result, nearly 20,000 people died, either from drowning, or by blunt force after being hit by dislodged trees, and other large pieces of debris. Weeks after the disaster, as those who survived were trying to figure out how to go on with their lives without their loved ones, some people started reporting seeing ghostly queues outside what used to be a supermarket. Others were kept awake at night by disembodied voices crying out in the dark. Shinichi Yamada and his 2 children somehow managed to escape the waves. Shinichi later salvaged 2 Buddhist statues he found in the widespread rubble and brought them back to his temporary home. Almost immediately, both his children became ill. An unexplained chill invaded the house and would follow anyone who came inside. Shinichi knew it was time to call in the help of an exorcist, after he felt someone walking over him as he lay in bed one night. The exorcist, Kanshu Izawa, also had her own frightening tales to tell. She had been seeing headless and mutilated ghosts ever since the disaster. She advised Shinichi to build a shrine for the statues, which he did. The ghostly activity in his home subsided a bit, but even though incidents still occur now and then, Shinichi believes the spirits that haunted his family are now at peace. Nina DeSanto was busy closing up her New Jersey hair salon one cold Saturday evening in 2001, when she spotted one of her customers standing outside the shop's window. Michael had become a good friend of hers over the years, and she knew that he'd been going through a tough time after his wife left him for his stepbrother, and he lost custody of his children, to boot. Nina had tried her best to cheer Michael up whenever he came to the hair salon, and had even taken him for drinks a couple of times to give him a chance to talk. So when she opened the door to him that night, Michael seemed transformed and even happy. He smiled at her, and said that he couldn't stay long but just wanted to stop by and thank Nina for everything she'd done for him. They chatted a bit, and then each went their own way for the evening. Early the next morning, Nina received a distressing call from a salon employee. The woman told her that Michael's body had been found the previous morning, around 9 hours before Nina had spoken to him at the salon. He had committed suicide. In today's terms, Nina had an experience with a crisis apparition, which many are convinced is the spirit of a recently deceased person, who appears to close friends and family to say goodbye. There is very little scientific research to fall back on when it comes to these apparitions, but some believe that it's merely a trick of the brain. Many people believe that there is no such thing as ghosts, and that whenever lights flicker on and off or taps open and close by themselves, there's a crooked demon finger doing the work instead. Between 2011 and 2012, LaToya Ammons and her 3 children moved into a house on Caroline Street in Gary, Indiana. Almost immediately, LaToya sensed something was off. She and her mother Rosa would hear footsteps coming from the basement, and doors creaking open, when the children were fast asleep, and no one else was in the house. If they thought the house was haunted by ghosts, they soon changed their minds when swarms of flies invaded the house's porch in the dead of winter, and the children suddenly started behaving strangely. Rosa once awoke to loud screams only to find her 12-year-old granddaughter levitating over her own bed. LaToya found her youngest son in the closet talking to an unseen presence. Her son was also thrown across the room by an invisible entity. The Department of Child Services was called by neighbors who thought the children were being abused. Case manager Valerie Washington interviewed the family at a local hospital. During the interview, she witnessed LaToya's 9-year-old son crawl backward up the wall and ceiling, flip over his grandmother and land on his feet. It was then that an exorcist was called. Reverend Michael Mugino performed multiple exorcisms at the house, and is quoted as saying that the property